Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's Kevin Forte, and today we are going to be taking a look at the San Jose Sharks as we continue our season preview videos. So make sure to check out our other ones if you have not already. So with that out of the way, let's get right into the rebuilding San Jose Sharks. So now we are officially in year 2 of Will Greer as the general manager of the Sharks. They made a massive move here this offseason, trading out defenseman Erik Karlsson, and what they brought back is going to help them out in this season and the development of some of their younger players. These guys are going to be cornerstone pieces for what they look to do this season in their development. So looking at some of the changes, there's a lot of guys from that trade. So to look at the trade, we've got Mikael Granlund and Mike Hoffman coming back to San Jose. That's kind of weird. If you guys remember, he was actually flipped a couple of years back when he was traded from Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators traded him to the San Jose Sharks, and the Sharks immediately flipped him back to the Florida Panthers in that Atlantic Division. And it's kind of interesting to see how things have kind of turned out a couple years later, but Mike Hoffman finds himself back in San Jose. I think for real this time. Also, we've got Anthony Duclair. Anthony Duclair comes over also from the Florida Panthers, former Panther here. He had a really good season for the Cats last year, and I think this is a guy that is going to actually be probably the best offseason addition to this San Jose Sharks team. Duclair is a guy that is a little bit underrated in my opinion, and I think a guy that if he stays healthy this year could be a really good top 6 winger for the San Jose Sharks. He's back on the West Coast. He played with the Coyotes for a few seasons. He was a part of that huge Keith Yandle trade with the New York Rangers when he was drafted by the Rangers. We all know how that went. So he's looking to make some revenge here on the West Coast. We'll see if he could do that with the Sharks. Filip Zadina is the most potential in terms of what we could see from a player. Things obviously didn't work out in Detroit. The Red Wings have really built up their draft capital, and Zadina has kind of fallen by the wayside. They couldn't even get rid of him via waivers and things like that. So he ends up going to the San Jose Sharks. I think there's a great chance for him to prove himself. It's a lineup that's not super stacked with talent like it was in Detroit. He's going to have a legit opportunity to play in, at the very least, the top 3 lines. More likely the second, third line role. But there's always a chance at some point, if there's injuries and things like that, if he gets the opportunity, we could see a guy like Zadina on the top line at some point for the Sharks. Another guy to watch for is Jan Rutta. He's been around the block here for a while, but I think he's been a good player for the last couple teams he's been playing with. He's been to the playoffs before. He's been with the Tampa Bay Lightning the last couple years, so obviously there's that experience there. That's a really good pickup. One that nobody's really talking about, I have a man crush for this guy, and that's Kyle Burroughs. He was formerly with the New York Islanders organization for a few seasons, spent last season with the Vancouver Canucks, and he was actually playing on the third pair. Now, obviously, things didn't go so well. He was a part of maybe the most infamous blue line last season, the weakest blue line, you could argue, in the entire National Hockey League in Vancouver. So hopefully he's able to continue to build up and develop. It just wasn't going to happen in Vancouver. He's going to have an opportunity once again in the NHL here with the San Jose Sharks. I really like him as a player. He just needs to develop that skating a little bit, and I think that's going to be really critical for him this season. Mackenzie Blackwood also comes in to the San Jose Sharks. He was with the Devils. He comes in on an interesting contract. Will Greer obviously seeing some potential in this guy. I just call him Will. It's Mike Greer. Apologies to that. I'm sure somebody will make fun of me for that. But Mike Greer brings him in on an interesting deal, a 2-year, $2.35 million per season deal. I like this deal because it's a prove-it deal. And we've seen Blackwood have success in New Jersey. He needs to stay healthy. That is the critical thing here. We know what he's capable of at the NHL level. His first 2 seasons, he had a .918 save percentage in 23 games, and then he followed that up with the 2019-2020 season. He had a .915 in 47 games played. He has the potential there. He's done it before. Then injuries started to affect him. So hopefully he's able to get healthy and be ready to go. But I have my questions about how good that's going to be because we've talked about that in New Jersey for the past 3 years now. With that said, looking at rookies, guys that might make the lineup, guys we've seen a little bit of here at the NHL level for the Sharks, but we're going to be looking here at William Eklund. Eklund, of course, is a top 10 draft pick of the Sharks, so there's a lot of expectations for him, the former Djurgården of the SHL forward. He is expected to be in the NHL this season, and I think it's going to be, honestly playing a pretty prominent role for this team depending on how things kind of work out for him. But you do have some centers there. You have Hertl, you have Couture, you have Granlund. So for him to make it, he's going to have to somehow beat out a guy like Granlund probably to get in that third line spot, because I just don't see him beating out a guy like Hertl or Couture. Fabian Zetterlund, not Philip Zadina. We already talked about him. Fabian Zetterlund. Fabian Zetterlund is another one to watch here. I really like him. I think that's a guy that just wasn't going to get, again, similar to Philip Zadina, just wasn't going to get the opportunity in New Jersey. I think he's going to get more of an opportunity here in San Jose. Also keep an eye on guys like Luke Kunin, who have been around for a little while. I think he's going to have a better season this year. Francis Bordeleau is a defenseman to watch. I don't know if he's going to make the lineup, but that's definitely one that if I'm a San Jose Sharks fan, I'm definitely licking my chops at the idea of seeing him in the lineup. Thomas Bordeleau. He's 21 years old. He's played a little bit with the Sharks over the last couple of years. I expect to see his development continue this season, and he might not be a guy that's playing on opening night, but if there's any injuries throughout the season and they need a call-up from the Barracuda, definitely keep an eye on Thomas Bordeleau. So my breakout player this season, it's kind of tough to do this because I don't know if Eklund's actually going to make the opening night roster or he ends up starting the season in the AHL, and that's definitely going to change my pick. So I'm going to go with somebody a little bit more off the board here, and that is Luke Kunin. I think Luke Kunin is maybe not going to be super standout in terms of what he provides to you in terms of scoring production. But this is a guy that once he gets off the injured reserve, he is that type of player that is just very reliable defensively. He can play on the penalty kill. He's going to be that type of guy that comes in and is kind of a Swiss Army knife, can come throughout the lineup. He's played in the Western Conference for the last couple years since the 2017-2018 season with Minnesota. He's had a stop in Nashville, and he spent a couple of games, 31 to be exact, with the Sharks last year. So definitely watch for a guy like Luke Kunin. Again, he is going to start the season on IR, it looks like, but keep an eye out for him this season when he does come back and is healthy. With that, my prediction for the San Jose Sharks, not seeing anything too crazy here. I think anywhere between 30 to 35 wins and somewhere between 75 to 80 points. This is not a great hockey team. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of the blue line. I do like guys like Mario Ferraro and Šimek, but other than that, things get a little bit murky up front. They have some really good centers there, but again, the scoring depth is good. It's definitely gotten something that I think Mike Grier has worked on, but that very spotty, questionable goaltending definitely keeping me on edge, as well as that defense just not being real reliable. You need good defense and you need good goaltending, and neither of those categories hit for the Sharks this season. And I do think they are going to miss the playoffs with 75 to 80 points. Shout out here to Shaka, our big Sharks fan here at Gold Line Hockey. So hopefully you made it to this part of the video. You're watching this video because it is the Sharks. I would hope you're watching. You're our hardcore Sharks fan here on the channel. Guys, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.